Dear friends, once you have downloaded the software, this icon will appear in the laptop or computer screen. Once you click it, then this banner will appear, and here you have to start with the button and the first graph, that's a normal graph, will appear on your computer screen. This is the only screen where you can play with all the possible variations, and you can compare and analyze all other factors of economy or economic phenomena like inflation, deflation, what's the effect of productive expenditure and non-productive expenditure. Everything you can see, these are the different patterns. If you want to see vertical division, if you want to see horizontal division, if you want to analyze four poles of economy or the triangles of stability, then balancing triangles, and then you can always come back to normal graph. Anytime you can toggle with any of these geometrical patterns. If you want to refresh, you want to create a new graph or a new model, then after saving it, you can save it and you can name the, here you can name the graph and place the save, and it will be saved in the folder which you have created when you downloaded this software. And then you can always create a fresh graph if you want at the same time you want to experiment any other idea you have in your mind. So you can always fresh graph you can always create. Here is the input where you give different type of inputs. Like there are only four inputs. One is for consumption. You want to change the value of consumption, you can change it. Here is the, as soon as you put the value there, automatically the value of the pole of consumption will automatically, it is programmed in such a way that it will always be at 180 degree. This degree can always be changed by changing the angle. For each pole value, there is a another column that is for angle. Angle is most important because all the variations you can do only through the input of angle. The nature of angle will decide that in which direction you want to start analyzing it. Vertical, horizontal, any degree, 360 degree, you can manipulate it and you can see the results whether or not they are mathematically correct. Similarly, if you want to create a table that what's the constitution of expenditure or consumption, then you can give different, you can name it here. For all the whole squares, you can name like A, B, C, D to begin with. But later on, if you want to specifically give a name, that for consumption, you have, if you want the consumables items, or if you want to make expenditure for your household commodities, if you want to buy the automobile, if you want to construct a house, or if you want to invest in some shares or securities. So all these items can be specified here. Similarly, if you want to specify income, you can specify income from salary, income from interest, income from dividend, income from other sources, agricultural income. So any type of income which you want to specify, you can specify bifurcated here. But always remember the total sum of all the subgroups should not exceed the initial value you have put there. Like in here, I have put 125. 125 constitutes of what? The total should not exceed that limit. If you want to increase it, then you have to increase it here first and then start manipulating. So this is the different modes of input that I have explained you. Now we come to the most critical part of it, because this particular graph was created for the economy of the nation. That is the most critical part, because all our financial investment decisions are regulated by the fact that in which direction a sovereign government is going to manipulate and change the economic policies. So whatever they pursue, they may have also political agenda behind it. But here we are not talking about any ideology, whether capitalistic, communism, or socialism, any other type of popular economy, popular measures taken by the politicians, which have a very short-term perspective. But here we are talking about the logical science behind it, and all the calculations are indicated by mathematical formulas. So there cannot be any bias. This is the basic objective of creation of this shape of economy in a most simplest possible way, and why it is important that this particular shape of economy, the logic behind it, is going to last unless somebody challenges that the shape, the patterns, the mathematical formulas, the logic behind it is analyzed and interpreted differently, and he contests that this particular shape is not most optimum. There are other shapes also which can replace it for the better. Till then, this going to continue for years to come. Here we take the a relaxed approach. In this session, we are considering only one part of economic phenomena, that is, if the expenditure is made for productive cause, or if the expenditure is made for non-productive. In most of the economies, the regulating function is on the expenditure, which is decided by the government, that how much infrastructure expenses are to be incurred, and how much deficit financing is provided to the budget, or there are expenditures on welfare scheme, defense, and sometimes in poor countries, generally a revdi culture is also prevalent, especially in India. I won't say that it's only in India. There are far worse economies like Pakistan and Sri Lanka, and they have seen what's the adverse effect on their economies. But here we are not going to discuss any other question. We are only limiting ourselves to expenditure on productive and non-productive process. Now, if you incur expenditure not on the axis of production, here is that, and here is the axis. If you draw a perfect line, then it's a always 90 degree. And if you incur expenditure in non-productive causes, then it will be 180 degree. You will find it. This is the effect of 90 degree, and earlier it was 180 degree. You can see the expenditure that is parallel to income. Earlier it was parallel to production. It means here the expenditure is only made to increase the income. Now we will analyze it. What is the effect? Vertical division. Here you will see the monetary, because expenditure is a monetary value. So the square which was related to expenditure is has increased 6 point, or the area which was earlier allocated to it 5,000, now this 5,000 is increased to 5,220. It means the cash flow has increased. Production has increased a little bit, because if you increase the income, in that case also some expenditure will be made for such goods which people can consume. But here you will see the difference, that here the demand part has increased from 5,200. Now here you see the horizontal division. The this part relates to monetary values, because expenditure and income are monetary values. So monetary value rectangular has increased from 5,070. That is the 15% increase has taken place, where the physical availability of goods for consumption has reduced by 3%. You see, it is a minus. Earlier it was 5,000, the ideal value for this rectangular. Now it is rather decreased 4,000. This is rather reduced. It means there is a very big pressure of inflation taking place in the economy. Similarly, if you want to analyze the sphere of the economy, now it is no more a perfect square, rather tilt is here. This is due to the expenditure, that's the monetary value. That is because the increase is in this part. Maximum increase here in this part. Now, if you see the vertical division, similar effect you will see that the demand has increased. Demand has increased, but the availability goods of goods and services has decreased. There is a decrease here, and here is a increase. It's a very common, every student of economics will understand that if the demand is more and supply is more, it will cause the prices to go up, because more money will chase a limited supply. So there will be tendency for the prices of goods and commodities to increase. The effect of that can be analyzed. All activity squares we have already discussed. Now we discuss the triangle of stability. Now here you will see the demand has increased and supply has decreased, and physical availability of goods has also decreased, but the monetary value has increased by 19%. So this is the demand and supply equilibrium, how it has been adversely affected, and one can easily understand that in which direction the economy of a nation is moving, because once you increase the supply of money and don't increase the supply of goods, and the production doesn't increase, then it will, the deflation will start taking place. Deflation means the size of the economy will start decreasing rather than increasing. So this is the final conclusion of non-productive expenditure. Now if we analyze it, 90-degree variation, then how it affects the economy. Here you have seen the production, on the production end, there is a straight line going up. It means the expenditure has been increased on productive expenditure. Here you will see the supply has increased and demand is less. Similarly, there is a almost balance, almost non-existent inflation, but the physical availability, this triangle shows the increase of goods and services. So here is a increase, the is also constant, and demand is less, supply is more, it means the availability of goods has increased. If it continues, it will mean that either the supply will have to come down or the demand will have to be increased. But in actual, every economist understands that unless availability of supply, not if it is not more than the demand, then the demand will not increase. The effect of expenditure will cause income to grow. You see, therefore, we have the logic of income is plus and expenditure is minus. So, minus and plus will attract each other and it will cause the income to grow immediately. That next stage of effect of increase in expenditure for productive cost will cause the income to increase immediately. When we change the how much outflow has taken from this place and how much inflow is here, we will when we come to the balancing triangle. But right now I am only trying to explain that the effect of productive expenditure, it causes supply of goods to go up, physical availability has increased, and these other parameters indicate the healthy economy. Now, there are certain expenditures, they are non-productive in nature, but they have a very critical part to play, like the expenditure on defense. One can say this is a non-productive expenditure, but the safety of the nation comes first. For every nation, it is a must that they must protect their boundary, and there should not be any challenge to the sovereignty of any nation. So it has a is essential also and non-productive also. So if we want to balance it, we provide the 45-degree option also. This is the option. You can balance supply and money as well if you place it at a 45-degree. So here is not much difference in supply and demand, and monetary values are almost all same, but you have to keep it within the limits from 90 to 180. There are expenditures on education, on health, social security. They are not going to increase the production, but if you don't provide education, the manpower of the nation, if it is uneducated, you can't expect them to engage in productive activities. Similarly, if you don't provide expenditure for health services and if the people fall sick, it's a great loss of manpower in terms of man hours. And a healthy nation, healthy citizen is always good. It is always advisable to increase the security on account of any health hazard. Like previously, we have seen what the effect of diseases when viruses like corona spreads. It has not only affected the economy of many big nations, but the world economy has also undergone a tremendous shock. So we must provide for some expenditure as an emergency fund to meet out such type of critical epidemics which can any time struck anywhere in the world, and it's the liability for all nation to create a emergency fund where assistance can be provided to those part of the population which is most affected by it. So we have now discussed only the effect of increase in production, in, increase in expenditure for productive and unproductive expenditures, and there are certain expenditures which are essential in nature, but they are essential otherwise for the healthy nation and educated, highly skilled manpower, education on trading, skill development, and expenditure on items which have a slower rate of return but very important. That is the expenditure on agriculture. In agriculture, the production doesn't go by geometrical jump, but it's rather linear in nature. But any deficit in it can cause a very severe impact on the well-being because and food items, cereals, if they are not available and all other facilities are available, then there is no purpose in such kind of a development. There are also very similar concerns for expenditure on preservation of atmosphere because if we don't incur it now to restore the balance of ecology, then tomorrow it will cause a disaster for the human race as such, as a whole, and all the purpose of economic development will go waste. So that expenditure should essentially be part of this aspect. 45 days. They are very essential and we must provide for it and create a rather a fund every year for restoration of atmosphere of our planet Earth. In other sessions, we will discuss other models like this to prove the arithmetical accuracy and how emerging the patterns, geometrical patterns, can be analyzed. But before concluding, I would like to introduce balancing triangles also. Like we have seen that if there is increase in expenditure for protecting costs, here is the outflow from the whole square. There is a increase. You see here, there is a increase. It means this outflow is going to be inflow of income pool. So if there is a increase of 21%, the income is going to be increased by 21%. So this is the significance of these balancing triangle. It's rather difficult for initial student of economics because it is rather complicated that how it is going to affect the rate, the up rate color. This should match this. This should match this. This should match this. The interpretation is rather complicated, and only those economists who deal it for their prediction can understand the importance of this significance of these triangles of balance. That what we have said because why I use the term balancing, that the balance must strike between this and this, between this and this and this. So here I conclude the initial introductory talk on the graph of economy or the shape of economy, how the analysis possible, and what are the patterns of input modules. And you don't have to wait for the result to come. You can instantly put the value and instantly get the result. You can always save the graph. You can also save the calculation part of it if you have access to the database. In the initial trial version, we have not provided for access to the database, but if you are a very serious student and if you want to create your own database, then it will be provided once the final version of the software is made available to you. It will have other features also at a later stage because right now we are not limiting ourselves to increase in one pole of the economy, but we want to simulate it that how it is going to affect once you change the value on production, then how it's going to increase expenditure and then income and then consumption and then production. So various iterations can be selected, but that software edition will only be available to those who have desire to understand, analyze a particular economic phenomena for a minute analysis and interpretation. Right now, it's I would like call it is the introductory part of it. But in next session, we will also see that for auditors, for accountants, how the same graphs can be used to depict the health of a business activity. In this case, the income becomes the sales part and expenditure because in accounting it's only debit and credit. This is the credit side and this is the debit side. If you analyze it very closely, in that case, expenditure becomes this side becomes profit and loss account, and this becomes your balance sheet. Here, the consumption means consumption of finite resources like share capital, loan, advance loans, long-term loans, and institutional financing, and any addition of profit to the share capital holders or the proprietor's equity, and this side becomes the asset side of the balance sheet. Production becomes the asset side of the company and any other business entity. Even a person, a personal, if you consolidate their income, they can always do it for individual purpose also. Because the economic activities, whether it's a individual or any small shopkeeper, big business enterprise, manufacturing, trading, any type of activity, or a national economy. Because nation also does the same thing. National economy is the same thing happening. Government earns income from sales tax, purchase tax, and wealth tax, GST, etc., and makes expenditure as I have just explained. And the production is always here. That how much contribution of core sector, service sector, finance sector. There are different sectors of the economy, and the production. This is what we call is the GDP, gross domestic production. So that is nothing but the production here, and whatever is consumption, because in the government there is no consumption like this, but the consumption by the industry, by the all people of the country, they constitute the consumption of the economy. We will also discuss the consumption based economy and export based economy, import based economy, that how it is affecting the status, because example is Chinese economy. They didn't increase domestic production, and they depended only on earning from exports. So once their exports start falling, now you can see the status of economy of that nation, because it is not supported by the domestic consumption. On the contrary, you can also see the import-based economy like American, let's say, they created all supply facilities in China, and they thought that cheap import from there will fulfill the requirement of their citizen at a cheaper rate. But when the balance of power changes, it creates a very critical position. They want to curtail the military power of China because they are not quite comfortable at the level of balance of power, military power. So now they want to curtail it also, but they're dependent also on imports from their country, which is the enemy country. So these are all analogies, these are all contradictions, these are all complications of geopolitics. But had they this kind of an analysis before embarking on such type of misadventure, I think they would have prevented emergence of a solid state of affairs, because now the whole economy of Europe is on the verge of very, because they very seriously on the imports from their country, and they invested very heavily in Chinese assets, Chinese stock market, their bond, etc., etc. And all of a sudden, they are in a big dilemma what to do. So, I'm not going to discuss the geopolitics in this channel, but I am only trying to underline the importance of this software that can be could have exposed at the time of happening of this type of economic phenomena, because we are no more a national economy. Now we are a global village, global economy. Whatever happens in one part of the economy affects the rest of the world. So we should have equal concern for the people of all nations, because if they suffer, we can't remain unsympathetic to their plight. So with this, I conclude the first introduction part of shape of economy. I think it was educative for you, useful for you. If you have any other comments, please do communicate with us. Thanks.